want to say a couple things too, it sounds like. If there's something that you think might be mixed, feel free. One of the special things about Carmel-by-the-Sea is all the history of this place and the characters that gave us the character of this village. So one of those people was Chief Red Eagle, and I made some notes. I wouldn't mess this up, Cindy. He was born August 29th, 1870 in Fort Worth, Texas, as a member of the Choctaw tribe, and became part of the Buffalo Bill Wild West show early on in his life. Moved to California in the 20s and eventually landed in Carmel in 1939 and lived very close to this spot on 7th and San Carlos. Lived a storied life in the city and passed away at the ripe age of 78 in 1949. And so the history on this sign, it's been up for a while. And Cindy, thankfully, as one of our very involved residents, reached out to Chip and myself and said, hey, you guys, I noticed that the sign's looking pretty shabby these days. And so we reached out then to our team, Cleve and Leo, who are the superstars of this story, to pull down the original sign, which we still have right here. You can see it was looking pretty rough.
Yeah.
This is going to live on in the library. It's been there for a while.
Flush it this way. There you go. Great.
Don't drop it, Brandon.
Yeah.
So that's the original sign. You can see it looks like it maybe been pressure washed. We don't think it was hit by a truck or anything, because if a big box truck went down and hit that, it probably would have hit the wall too. So it just needed some love and attention. So Cleve and Leo worked really hard and figured out a way to get the sign reproduced, and you'll see it here in a minute. We're really excited to reveal it for you. But you can't tell that it's a reproduction. It looks fantastic. So during the time that the sign was being reproduced, Cindy and I worked to try to find relatives of Chief Red Eagle. We were unsuccessful in that, and then Cindy worked really hard to try to find people that just knew him in general. And that was sort of the genesis for today, was trying to get as many people together to honor and remember Chief Red Eagle as we rededicate this sign here that we'll pull down in a minute. So with that, Cindy, why don't you tell us a little bit about Chief Red Eagle?
Sure. Well, thanks for doing all the background information, because when you pull it off of Google, that's basically what you get. But Chief Red Eagle was a very gentle man who lived just down the alley. This was always an alley. It was Gould Alley when the Goulds owned it. And there's a little building on the left-hand side. He lived in that little house down there. And it's been repurposed into something else. But he was just a presence around town. He didn't wear his headdress. But we all knew he was an Indian chief, whether or not he actually was. And Carmel was fortunate in those years to have Chief Red Eagle. He was our Indian person, and we also had Pon Chung, who was our Chinese person, and he was a volunteer on the fire department. So these kinds of characters or individuals really added to the richness of growing up in Carmel. So with that, I'm going to say Graham remembers.
What would you like me to do?
Just say anything about Chief Red Eagle.
Just remember, Graham.
Yeah.
Well, one, I didn't know him because he, passed in '49, so I'm not quite his vintage. So, but my father had the Scottish shop, which was on Ocean Avenue, and when we were kids, this used to be a dirt alleyway, as it was in the back there as well. So my father never really trusted us to be in front of the public, so he put us out the back. You can see why. So we had to clean out the lane and the alley in the back of the store. So I'd always see the sign and always heard the stories about Red Eagle and his time here in Carmel, and then our honorary fire person that you mentioned, Cindy, we knew of him as well. So every time I walk by here, I look at the sign and I think of the fond memories of cleaning up the alleyway when I was a kid, and I say that in a very sincere way, because it really was a special place to grow up, and so we're privileged to honor him again today.
Please, Sarah.
I came in
And
43.
Sarah knew.
Yeah, and so he was a few years before he died. He was a very, for those of us, who cowboys and Indians in those days were, shown in different ways. he was a very gentle soul, as you said, and friendly. I never really talked to him, but to think that he was an Indian, we all knew he was an American Indian, and to have him be friendly and polite and everything, it was a great way of, for a kid, as I was writing back, to see the American Indian and to feel that he wasn't like some of the stories we hear in the movies that were going on. It was great.
How about Mike?
Mike, did you want to add anything?
I don't know how many here knew the Countess de Canul. She lived at the end of Torrey Street. She came up. There's a long history behind her and her impact on Carmel. But she took Red Eagle Alley in as a person that she cared about. And whenever you met with the Countess, years ago I was very active with the Monterey County SPCA, and the Countess de Canul was, as you probably knew her, you know that she played a major role in our Humane Society out there on Highway 68. And so I would have to meet with her once in a while I was handling the finances and everything for them. And I'd meet with her, and she'd tell some amazing stories about Red Eagle. And years ago, a lady by the name of Kathleen Ambro wrote a book about the Countess de Canul. And in it, she writes, there's about 2 chapters in here all about Red Eagle. There's pictures of him in here.
Oh, wow.
There's a number of pictures in here of him and stories about her role in taking care of him. Apparently when he was first here and when she met him, things weren't going as positive as you might hope. And she took him under her wings, made sure he'd come over all the time and she'd feed him and take care of him. And there is a quite famous picture of the Countess putting up the sign, but I don't think it's that one. I think it's the sign before, the very original sign that was put up. And there's a famous picture of her up on a ladder putting up that sign. She could tell you unbelievable stories, but a lot of them are in this book, Wealth, Sorrow, and Redemption by Kathleen Ambro. I don't know how many, if you know her, but Kathleen did, I found a fantastic book on the Countess. But in here, she dedicates about 2 chapters really to Red Eagle and his impact and his place. You're right about our Indian friend that was the honorary fire chief and everybody too. Pum Chung. They really played in the 40s, 30s, 40s a very important part in Carmel's history. So I got this book actually through Pilgrim's Way, and if you want to learn about the early history of Carmel, obviously it's written. The Countess de Canul she was a British countess, actually a French countess, but born in England and then came over here. Because during the Second World War, she worked for the French underground against the Nazis, and then the SOS told her, "They're onto you." So the British got her back to England and then got her over here, and she ended up. She was in a. I know this is not about her, but the book. It's really a fantastic story about. She was with a gentleman in Los Angeles in a doctor's office and happened to be waiting for her appointment. Picked up a magazine, and the magazine was about Carmel. That's the only reason she ended up here. So she decided to come to Carmel, came to Carmel, and never left. Had that large house at the end of Torrey Street, which she owned the property around there and everything too. And when she passed away, it all got divided up and everything.
Well, thanks for sharing your connection with Chief Red Eagle. We appreciate it.
She had a major role in his life while he was in Carmel. She really had a major role. As I say, there's a number of pictures in here of Red Eagle when he's in. This is the only civilian clothes he had, apparently. And everything, and it tells about his life and his part in Carmel is it's really amazing.
Well, we can go check that book out.
Phil, did you know Red Eagle?
No, I actually didn't. In '49, third grade or fourth grade or something like that. So I remember this as part of Murphy's Lumber Company, right? This location.
Oh, wow.
Right here. So Yeah.
Just a little history for anybody who
Yeah.
don't know it already. Bill and I went to Blue Jay Nursery School together.
And I also babysat Bill.
Uh-oh.
The babysitter was in trouble.
That's maybe a story for another day. Well, I want to thank everybody. Oh,
And then
please.
Anna has something.
Oh,
This,
please.
this is my daughter, Anna Williams, and she is a docent at the Carmel Valley History Museum, where Linda Yamini, who is the expert in all things Native Americans in this area, works. And so she has something to show you.
Well, this showed up at the History Center, and there really isn't that much information about it other than the belief that it was made by Chief Red Eagle. So that's about all I can tell you.
That is cool.
And
Yeah, way cool.
And apparently it's the stitching that is the indication that it was probably made by him. And as this is really a piece of Carmel history, more than Carmel Valley history, the Historical Society is happy to have
Bequeath.
Carmel have it if there's a place
Oh,
for it.
wow.
Yeah, we can put it in the local history library. Yeah.
Do they take objects?
Absolutely.
Yes.
This is going to live in the library.
Okay, great. So I'll
And
talk to
so,
Katie.
yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, I just really wanted to make sure it got here as part of today.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for
Thank
bringing
you.
that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
And apparently his headdress is at the Pacific Grove Museum of Natural History.
Okay.
So
Well,
we
maybe we
might
can talk
want
to
to
them
collect
about
it.
that living here as well. That would be nice to have all that.
Little
here.
It might be
display.
kind of neat to do a little mini exhibit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, that's great. Thank you for bringing that.
Yeah, thank
Well,
you.
before we get to asking Cleve to climb a ladder safely, I just want to thank again everybody for coming. You know, I talk, you know, anytime you guys hear me in meetings, I talk about how much we all care about the character of the city of Carmel-by-the-Sea, but this character doesn't exist without characters. And, you know, Chief Red Eagle certainly was one of those characters. And I think another important thing to remember, you know, Sarah kind of touched on it, you know, throughout history, especially, you know, early on, you know, there's inappropriate and untrue portrayals of people that come from different places. And I think one of the things that's special about this place, Carmel-by-the-Sea, is that when someone comes to be part of this community, they're part of the community, regardless of what they look like, where they come from, what their background is. And that's what's special about this tiny little village by the sea. So thank you all for coming today to recognize the rededication of this sign. And with that, Cleve, would you mind doing the honors, please?
Sure.
We can kind of move over this way. We're gonna watch the big reveal. Remember, Cleve, carefully find the flag.
3 points of context. Okay, everyone ready?
Yay! Ta-da! Drum roll! Yay!